So, as of the time of this recording, the most liked Twitter post is the announcement that Chadwick Boseman had passed on. Now, normally when someone gets most liked, or when a certain account gets most liked, it's like something to celebrate. But with this one, considering how iconic the guy was in terms of his role, or at least the role he acted in, and how good of a person he was, in terms of all of his efforts to try and help people and shit, like, it just kind of doesn't make it feel as good. And I don't know, like, I'd probably just chalk it up to it being legendary, because that's the kind of person that he was, especially with the role that he took up of Black Panther. But anyways, we have a podcast to do, so yeah, let's do the thing.
Get ready for the battle of the sexes.
Welcome to Break Time on Westside, your number one break time podcast, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic. Alright, wait. Alright, just give it a second. Alright, let's try this one again. Welcome to Break Time on Westside, your number one break time podcast, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic is a man who has not managed to find the G spot just yet, but apparently has been told that there is an A spot. So that's even just ruining shit a little bit more for him. He is a man who believes the chicken came first before the egg, because cock lives matter, and the cock has had to have been doing something since back in the day, if you know what I'm saying. It is none other than I, your tall, dark, and mildly handsome man, Sir Denver B. The show is Battle of the Sexes, our weekly love, sex, and relationship show, which just so happens to point out the many flaws with all of us, men and women, and likes to take a nice good swing at them. Now, before I get into my usual rant about some shit that someone did in society, or just something that happens with society, I do have to sort of point out that my reaction, my comments, everything that I said at the beginning portion before the intro was entirely from the heart. Like, I genuinely do feel bad that Chadwick Boseman did pass away. That wasn't just some shit to cover the intro. Like, it genuinely does certainly hurt. As someone who's a pretty big fan of MCU characters, Marvel characters, superheroes and all that, like in general, both Marvel and DC, like, it genuinely did hurt that Chadwick Boseman passed away. Not just because of the character he played and the fact that, he might be recast or some replacement and all that. It's more of just the fact that he had sort of represented something really good. And once you see a lot of the clips about a lot of the good that he was trying to do off screen as well, you do kind of admire him a little bit more. But, we have to make sure we psyched up for the podcast, you know what I'm saying? So we usually have to come in and make sure we bring in that fire, whether we feel good, whether we feel bad. It's not about how we feel, it's about how we're trying to make you feel. Or at least how I'm trying to make you feel at the end of this. So I might as well continue with my typical rant before I go into the main topic. Now, before I go into the main topic, we need to discuss Bella Thorne. For those of us that have existed for a couple of years and have seen at least a Disney star or two pop up, besides the likes of Ariana Grande and shit, you probably know about Bella Thorne. Bella Thorne was a bit of a Disney princess, if I can say it that way, but I think most of us probably know her best for That's So Raven, because that's the show that I can comfortably say that I know seeing her from. Like, I don't know any of the other shows that she's been on, I just know about That's So Raven. Now, people apparently have a problem with Bella Thorne, and all of it is something to do with OnlyFans. Like, she was pretty much making the news and receiving a lot of hate towards the end of last week because of her and OnlyFans. Now, to explain what happened is, she opened an OnlyFans account, and normally when you join OnlyFans as a creator, you usually have like a certain charge that people are supposed to pay so that they can view your content, and you can also have like super exclusive content that people will have to pay even more to access. So what happened was, she set up an OnlyFans, And she charged people, I kid you not, she charged people $200 so that she can, show them nudes. Firstly, I don't know how many people usually like, paying for OnlyFans, because last I checked, like porn and naked pictures of people is mostly free. And frankly, if you look at Bella Thorne, I don't think there's anything that interesting to look at. She's no Pinky with the big booty, she's no Becky with the good hair, and she's no Tatiana with the nice tits. So I can't exactly say that she's someone that I'd put money down for. But obviously there's a couple of niggas that did, because she joined OnlyFans and she made $1 million in under 24 hours. Now, that means that she had to have had about 50,000 people join or follow her OnlyFans. I'm not entirely sure how it works, and pretty much just subscribe to her. Now, she got 80K in the first 24 hours, so that's roughly about 1.6 mil. I'm guessing OnlyFans might take a little bit of that money because, it's a platform. And she decides to charge people an extra $200 to view exclusive content. Now, the problem is the exclusive content, which was supposedly supposed to be her nudes, was her in the kitchen, not topless or anything, but just, with like a top sipping some wine. I don't know, like that was the biggest piece of fuckery I think she did to people, because people got super pissed and they wanted their money back and shit. Now, normally I discount this kind of situation as absolute bullshit, willing buyer, willing seller. You chose to pay for some shit you aren't sure about, and you got the worst of it. And at the same time, people have paid for shit online that just seemed utterly stupid. Like, I remember a couple of months back I was talking about the story of the babe that was paid, I don't know, £150 in the UK just to take her socks off. Like, that's some shit that I just don't see the use in. If you want porn, I think you can get it for free, and if you want to pay for porn, I think there's sites that do a pretty good job when it comes to it. And on top of that, in as much as I have a problem with OnlyFans is like the SoundCloud of porn. So it's like, you have to be an up and come over there, you're making your bank from there and shit. But here's the thing. Now, she pretty much swindled people because she claimed that there would be nudes. And now, people want their money back. So OnlyFans ended up having to make changes. So people wouldn't get a refund for a couple of days. They pretty much adjusted how it is that they'd be paying the creators. So I think instead of a few days, now creators are going to have to wait 30. Also, that money is going to be held, I don't know, like it's sort of like an in-between section, so that in the likely event someone asks for a refund, they can get the money out. Because OnlyFans received quite a lot of flack for this. And I know I'm spending like half the podcast talking about this, but I'm pretty much just trying to end this shit quickly. Now, personally, do I see a problem there? Yes, I think on both sides. One, the people that offered to pay for that shit was stupid. Like, there's no level of clownery that can discount this bullshit. Because, frankly, and I kid you not, I actually tried this on my own. Just before I recorded this episode, I went on Google and I searched for Bella Thorne nudes. Like, I genuinely Googled that shit and I went to the images section. And I kid you not just for free, but for Google free, I managed to see Bella Thorne naked. Now, honestly speaking, y'all know me, I've got a sickness for the thickness, so that red-haired, nose-ringed shorty does not do anything for me. She does not arouse me in any way, shape, or form. But I figured I just needed to do that for you guys. So some niggas, and maybe some women, felt like paying $200 for that. Like, if that doesn't feel like a thorn in your side, then I don't know what else will. Pun intended, pun represented, and pun delivered. Like, I honestly have not seen like this level of stupidity in a while. Like, y'all could have gotten that shit for free and you decided to pay $200 for it. Anyways, the people who are complaining right now aren't even the people who paid the $200. It's the OnlyFans creators, and they're saying that Bella Thorne done ruined shit for them. But honestly, I think in some way, she sort of helped streamline the system. Now you can't get your money out as fast, so you can't shake your booty today and have money tomorrow. But in a sense, it helps streamline the business. I think most online content creators, most people who are under some form of employ, do need to understand that there's a remuneration period and understand why it exists. So yeah, OnlyFans is giving people like 30 days before they pay them their money. And I don't know, apparently you can't charge more than $100 for exclusive content now. So yeah, Bella Thorne done fucked up the game in a sense. Anyways, it's about time I go to the main topic of today. So, over the weekend, there was this statement that I saw someone post up somewhere, which seemed pretty interesting. I even took a screenshot and here it is. Men will eat your pussy off the bone and tongue fuck your asshole, but a relationship is where they draw the line. And like that was something that really hit me in a sense, because it's a pretty normal thing. Like I've seen people talk about it. It's something that I was discussing with a couple of friends not too long ago. The idea of defining the relationship, the whole talk behind it, and the mere fact that, you know, there's people that really want to get into a relationship and they are unable to because they feel like someone needs to define it for them. And there's niggas that want to have that cake and eat it, and they're like, you know what, we probably shouldn't, you know, define this shit. Hell, I've heard a very stupid statement before where the nigga was like, if we give what we have definition, then it loses power or some shit. You suddenly put boundaries and shit. Like that shit just seemed a little bit odd for me. But, you know, I'm a nigga, and this is something that a lot of guys have done, because a lot of women do expect a guy to define the relationship. And so I might as well handle the situation, because this is part of the reason why women will come out and say that, you know what, men are complicated. But the truth of the matter is, niggas are actually pretty simple human beings. And considering that this is a male-centric podcast, which is being handled by a nigga, I might as well help you with that. Because the thing is, it's not like it's that hard. All you have to do is just ask a nigga and provide the scenarios in which it's happening, and he'll give you a pretty good answer as to whether this guy is having issues deciding, or if he just doesn't want to tell you his decision. Because usually it just comes down to one of two issues why it is that your mans, or you know, just us niggas, are afraid to define the relationship. Because one, he can't decide, and two, he doesn't want to decide. Now, to be completely honest, mans can't decide sometimes because he doesn't know if there's anything to decide. Like, they might not see it as anything more than just a thing. Like, it's just something simple that y'all are doing together. Like, y'all just got together and boom, all of a sudden this guy has to know whether it is y'all are getting married in 5 years. This guy needs to decide whether you guys should date or whether you guys should remain fuck buddies or some shit. And you know, you want an answer because you really want to be with a person. But the thing is, a lot of y'all usually want that answer a little bit too soon. You're seeing this guy probably say what, 2-3 times a week at the max, because I'm guessing most of y'all are probably a little bit busy, and you guys might talk every day, but this guy isn't like properly decided. Y'all will expect that shit in like a week. And for some of us, the minimum it might take is like a month before we decide on that shit. And the fact that you think that you're putting up the right signals and he's not giving you the right answers doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't want to. Sometimes you're the problem because you're not giving the right signals. You get? Because I'm not gonna lie, like, women are very pathetic when it comes to signaling. Like, y'all expect us to fucking mind read you sometimes. And I find that to be a little bit off. Like, y'all are very pathetic at that shit. Hell, if anything, pathetic is a bit of an understatement. Because y'all expect us to read some things which we probably won't even notice. And the thing is, sometimes you just need to be direct. Hell, come hell or high water, just go and be direct. If the nigga wants to be with you, then he probably will. If he doesn't want to, or if he didn't know, then at least it'll give him a chance to consider. But at least at that point, he'll know the difference, or at least he'll know that it wasn't just a fling, or it wasn't just a one night thing. And, you know, he'll move on to the next section if he doesn't decide it soon enough. But like I said, just give it like a month at the very least before you all start trying to define shit. So, on to the next bit, where it is he doesn't want to decide where the relationship goes, whether you guys are gonna be in a relationship, whether you guys are gonna be friends with benefits and shit. And I'm not gonna lie, those are the niggas that like to have the cake and eat it. But they're still niggas. They're still guys, they're still men. So I can probably explain to you how exactly it is that they're functioning. Because when you get to a level where he doesn't want to decide, it's usually a couple of different situations and scenarios. One, he's probably still questioning the idea of being in the relationship with you, because at least for us as guys, when we want to get into a relationship, we usually like to consider things in like a 3-question process. We never usually like have it like written down or anything, but it usually just comes down to 3 questions. Do I have feelings for this babe? It could be a yes, could be a no. Would this babe make a great girlfriend? Could be a yes, could be a no. But then now that's when it starts getting interesting. I'm not gonna lie, like I've actually ended up not dating a couple of babes because I just don't think they'd make a good girlfriend. Probably because of how they've behaved, probably how they are as people, how their personalities are. Hell, I might feel a fuck ton in the name of feelings for them, but I look at them and I'm like, I don't think this relationship would actually work out. And then on the other side, like there's a third question where it's like, am I ready to drop all the options that I have, all the potential babes that I could be getting, all these fine mamacitas that will be on this planet, all these bunnies that could be calling out for the dick, and just stick with you? And there's a good chance that, you probably might not pass that stage either. So it becomes a little bit hard, because no word of a lie, like there are times when we look at a babe and we're like, yo, I would want this babe, she'd make a great girlfriend, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm ready to give up all the other pussy that I get, because probably hers is substandard, like the sex ain't even that good, but I have the feels for her and shit. There are times the niggas will decide yes on that, and the other times the niggas will decide no on that. Like, it's just what it is. It's how it happens. And then the other times where it's like, I want the emotional support, I want the affection, I want the love, I want the care and everything. But now that I'm about to try and get into this, on the other hand, like there's all these other shorties that I want to get, and I'm not ready to give them up. And probably because the sex is substandard. I know it's just one excuse, but there's others. But say I know that all these other shorties are willing to give me a little bit more in the bedroom than you are, like I'd want to have them as well. But at the same time, they know very well, if they present the question of an open relationship to you, the babe, then it's gonna become a problem, and they don't want that. And on one side, they're just gonna look like they're greedy and lustful, and they don't know if they're ready for an open relationship as well. So at the end of it, they're like, we might as well just let this shit ride on limbo, because if we go on friends with benefits, then there's not gonna be any feelings involved, and when feelings get involved, it's gonna become messy. At the end of that, you just look at it and you're like, I don't know, like I don't think it's worth all of that, because now defining it now confines it within a certain space that as a nigga you don't want to be confined in, or at least as for us niggas, we don't want to be confined in. So we pretty much just decide not to define shit. So honestly speaking, sometimes you just need to ask straight up, and sometimes us niggas, we don't want to get into the relationship for our own reasons. So I'd probably tell you the best way to know the difference is just give it some time. Like I said, give it like at least a month of just riding in the fields and shit. At least it'll give you a time to feel like, I really like what you've done to me type bullshit and shit. And then like the guy can go on his whole undecided bit, and hopefully once he decides, it'll be for the best of both of you. Because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. Some shit you just can't force, because very well, if you decide to force issues and you decide to force something into happening, especially when it comes to love, sex and relationships and shit, it's not even all that good. But anyways, I want to know your thoughts on this. My niggas, have I discussed this properly? Have I told these ladies exactly what's on your minds and some of the issues that y'all are going through? And ladies, does this serve as a good enough explanation for a lot of the shit that y'all have been going through with these niggas in the name of not getting into a relationship? The DMs are open. The handle is at Breaktime on Westside on IG. And Facebook as well, it is at Breaktime on Westside. You can hit us up with them ideas, with that feedback, and how you feel about this. And on Twitter, if you want to slide into my personal DMs, it is at Bagaka the D, the B and the DR capital. I will catch you guys on the next break. Take care. Honestly, after the shit that Bella Thorne just pulled, like, it's quite clear to me that there's people in this world that are willing to pay for free shit. So at this rate, I'm just gonna go to OnlyFans and then open up an OnlyFans account for the podcast and just post up clips there, because it's free, but clearly there's people that want to pay for that shit. So why the fuck not?